Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Love, Lies, and Betrayal. Let's move to the video. My name is Daniel, and today I want to share with you a secret that my wife Chloe planted in our marriage's story that I never expected. We have been together for 5 years, and from the very beginning our love has always been deep and intense. We both thought that we were the perfect couple ready to face any challenge, but time has gradually shown that life is not always as peaceful as expected. 5 years have passed, and there is one thing that makes both of us feel heavy pressure. We still do not have children. When we first got married, we used to paint a picture of a house filled with children's laughter, children who are the crystallization of our love. However, gradually those expectations have faded into a quiet void, and many times I have seen the disappointment in Chloe's eyes. Perhaps for her, this was the deepest pain in her life, a sadness that even I, her husband, found difficult to fully understand. At first, Chloe was a gentle, delicate woman who always knew how to nurture a family. She was attentive in every little thing, always took care of me, creating a warm family atmosphere that I deeply appreciated. But as time passed along with the unsuccessful efforts to have children, Chloe gradually changed. She became hot-tempered, irritable, and somewhat rude, manifestations that I had never seen in her before. Even the smallest thing could make her lose her temper. I knew Chloe was suffering from deep pain, but that change made me worried and restless. Things became more serious when Chloe started drinking with friends, something she had never done before. She often went out in the evening, met and drank with friends, and every time she came home, Chloe was drunk, staggering into the house. There were days when I had to help her into bed and change her clothes, the wreck of alcohol filling the air. Though I didn't say it, I sensed that the psychological burden of not having children had taken her off course. We went to the hospital for a fertility check, and the results were not as expected. The doctor said that Chloe had health problems. Her uterus was weak and showed signs of serious damage. This made it extremely difficult for her to get pregnant. As soon as she heard the news, Chloe completely collapsed. She silently bowed her head. Her eyes seemed to fall into the void, as if the world before her had just collapsed. I understood that Chloe felt guilty towards me, thinking that she was the reason why we could not have a complete family. Perhaps in her heart, she was haunted by the fear that I would leave her to find another woman, someone who could give me a child, although I had repeatedly affirmed that children were not the only thing that kept us together, that my love for her did not depend on having children or not. I knew that Chloe would have a hard time believing that when she was always tormenting herself late at night, when she came home drunk and fell asleep on the bed. I sat beside her watching her sleep, unable to help but feel sorry for her. I knew she was lost, that she was struggling with negative thoughts, feeling that she was no longer valuable in my life. Sometimes she sighed, sometimes burst into tears when she saw happy families with children on the streets. Those moments made me heartbroken, but I was also helpless. No matter how I consoled and encouraged her, I knew that no one but Chloe herself could overcome this deep pain. I once thought of taking her on a trip to relieve stress or seeking support from psychological therapy to help her regain balance in her life. However, Chloe did not want to listen to any suggestions from me. She refused all opinions, just sank deep into her own world where she blamed herself and tormented herself in silence. Not only did it hurt her, it also left me exhausted. One evening after work, I returned home and was surprised to find the house decorated differently. The flickering candlelight illuminated the dining table, mixed with the rich aroma of a cozy dinner entering the house. I couldn't help but be surprised, feeling a little fluttered in my heart, wondering if there was something special waiting for me. Since learning the not-so-good news about the possibility of having children, Chloe had withdrawn, paying little attention to the family atmosphere, letting the house gradually sink into the cold like a mirror, reflecting the sadness that could not be expressed in words. But today, everything seemed to brighten up when she saw me enter. Chloe smiled gently and invited me to sit down at the dining table. I sensed something different in her eyes, a gentleness mixed with a bit of determination, as if she was ready for something she had been thinking about for a long time. We sat across from each other under the soft candlelight, enjoying dinner in a warm, romantic atmosphere that we hadn't felt for a long time. Chloe began to say loving words, recalling sweet memories from the day we first met about what we had experienced together. She spoke of the deep love we have for each other, of our dreams of a happy family, and of the faith she had placed in our relationship. Hearing those words, my heart could not help but tremble. I knew Chloe had struggled a lot to be able to say these words. When the obsession of not being able to have children had weighed heavily on her mind for so long, I held her hand tightly, conveying to her a wordless message that no matter what, I would still be here with her through it all that night, in a space filled with love and empathy. We were close to each other, hoping to overcome our worries and pain, to create the miracle we both longed for: a child. We gave each other the most genuine tenderness, believing that our love could cover up the shortcomings of our bodies, that somehow happiness would smile upon us. But time passed, and once again our hopes were dashed in the days that followed. That night, Chloe counted the days, the hours, believing that this time a miracle would happen, but then there was no sign of our wishes coming true. There was only a fearful silence, a long emptiness, a repetition of what we had endured countless times before. Chloe fell into a deep despair, and I could feel the deep pain she was enduring. The light in her eyes, slowly faded hope once again slipping away, tearing my heart apart. We sat next to each other silently in the space filled with silence, but neither of us knew what to say, because any words of comfort at this moment became meaningless in the face of such deep sadness. I could only hold her tightly, as if hoping that the hug would be able to ease some of the pain in our hearts. We tried our best, fought for this love, but sometimes some dreams are just too far away. That night, I just sat quietly beside her, letting her lean on my shoulder, silent until the end, just listening to Chloe. So in the dark night one evening, as we sat together in the living room, Chloe suddenly broke the silence with a suggestion that I did not expect. Her eyes were hesitant, but her face was full of determination. She looked at me, took a deep breath, and said, "Honey, I have been thinking for a long time. Maybe we should find another way to have a child." I frowned, not understanding what she was trying to imply. Chloe paused for a moment, her voice soft but filled with determination. "I have found a few people. They are willing to help us. If you agree, you will do that with them, to have a child. This is the only way for us to have a child without further disappointment." Her suggestion made me freeze. My whole body froze, unable to believe what I had just heard. How could Chloe think of such a thing? She was asking me to have sex with other women while we were still married. A feeling of disappointment and pain surged through me. My heart clenched. "No, Chloe, I can't do this," I said firmly, my eyes looking straight at her. "Do you understand that this could destroy everything we have, our love? Don't you think about that?" Chloe bit her lip, her eyes starting to water, but her gaze remained firm. "Daniel, I know this is hard, but I have no choice. Do you understand that I have to endure this pain every day? I tried my best, but my body, I can't. Every time I think about us never having children, my heart feels like it's going to suffocate. I can't take it anymore. This is the only way. Baby," I looked at Chloe, feeling the pain in her eyes, a pain that no amount of comfort or encouragement could ease. She had suffered too much, and I understood that not having children was not only her own pain, but also the fear of losing the home we had worked so hard to build deep down. She feared that one day I might leave her because of this. I was silent, struggling between my pride and my responsibility to my family. Being with someone else just to have a child was something I had never imagined. But Chloe's eyes were pleading, filled with longing. They were the eyes of an exhausted, desperate woman, still clinging to her last ray of hope. Finally, I nodded slightly, as if in reluctant agreement. I didn't really want to do this, but I couldn't bear to let Chloe continue to suffer this pain alone. If this could really bring her happiness, then perhaps I was willing to make the trade-off. Soon Chloe found 2 girls who agreed to help. I don't know where she met them or how she con-ed-vin them, and I didn't want to ask. Everything happened so fast, and I was caught in a spiral that was hard to. Define one day, Chloe told me that the two girls would be coming to the house that evening. That evening, when the two girls arrived, Chloe had prepared everything carefully. They were young girls with gentle appearances, both of them a bit shy when entering the house. I felt the tension in the air, and the awkwardness and embarrassment were evident in all of our eyes. Chloe welcomed them politely, inviting them into the living room where I was waiting in a state of confusion. Chloe tried to talk to ease the tension. She sat next to me, holding my hand tightly, giving me some courage, but I understood that behind that calm appearance, she was also struggling with complicated emotions, with the secret pain that she had hidden for so long. Finally, that moment came. Chloe stood up, left the room, leaving me and the two girls in suffocating silence. I felt like an outsider in my own life, a stranger to the room, to the people in front of me, and even to myself. Part of me wanted to stand up, walk out of here and give up on everything, but the other part was held back by Chloe's desperate gaze. Before she walked out of the room one morning, Chloe received a call from one of the girls after finishing the conversation. She turned to look at me, her face full of emotion, her eyes filled with tears. She, showing signs of pregnancy. "Honey," she said. My heart fluttered, both surprised and happy, partly because I couldn't believe what I had just heard, but also because I couldn't stop the sudden happiness that rose in my heart. I looked at Chloe, seeing her eyes light up with a radiant joy, a happiness that I hadn't seen in a long time. The next day, Chloe arranged for the girl to go to the hospital for a checkup. Chloe and I went with her to the clinic, and we sat there nervously waiting for the results. No one said a word, just silence in the stifling air. The ticking of the second hand in the waiting room seemed to last forever. When the doctor came out, he smiled and announced that the girl was indeed pregnant at that moment. I saw Chloe burst into tears, tears rolling down her cheeks. She couldn't control her emotions, hugged my hand tightly, sobbed, both relieved and filled with the happiness she had been waiting for. So long as time passed, Chloe took care of the girl, wholeheartedly, like a sister, loving her little sister. She bought nutritious food, looked up all the nutritional information, and was always by her side throughout her pregnancy. They quickly became close, and Chloe always made sure that the baby in her belly would receive the best care. As the months passed, the girl's belly grew bigger and bigger, and the day of the baby's birth drew near. Chloe and I prepared everything for the baby: a small room painted in a gentle blue color, a lovely crib, and little clothes that Chloe had personally picked out. She often sat by the crib, gently caressing the items prepared for the baby, smiling with satisfaction, happiness shining in her eyes. Finally, that special day arrived. One spring morning, Chloe received a call from the girl saying that she had begun to show signs of labor. We rushed to the hospital, filled with excitement and anxiety. On the way to the hospital, Chloe held my hand tightly. I could feel her hand shaking with anticipation and anxiety in the hospital waiting room. We sat silently, our eyes glued to the delivery room door every time a doctor or nurse walked by. We both tensed up, counting the seconds and minutes. Time seemed to stretch on forever. But then a cry of birth rang out from inside, a small but vital sound. I saw Chloe burst into tears, tears of joy streaming down her face. We both stood up when the doctor came out, smiling and announcing that we had a healthy baby boy. Chloe couldn't wait another moment. She ran into the room where the girl was lying on the bed, holding the newborn baby in her arms. The girl handed the baby to Chloe, and Chloe's eyes lit up, an unprecedented happiness on her face. She held the baby as if cherishing a precious moment. She had waited her whole life, for the little boy was petite, with a chubby and adorable face. His clear eyes looking at the world around him in wonder. Chloe gently held him in her arms, her eyes full of affection. She gently stroked his soft cheeks, whispering in a sweet voice, "Hello, my dear. Mom and Dad have been waiting for you for a long time." I stood beside him, silently watching Chloe holding the baby in her arms. My heart was filled with indescribable emotions. This child was the dream we had longed for so long, a testament to the efforts and sacrifices we had made together. From that moment, I knew that our lives would change forever. Chloe gave the baby all her love and care. From the very first day, she took care of the baby with deep love and sacrifice, as if to make up for the difficult days that had passed. The baby had become the hope, joy, and new vitality of our small home, and every day when I see Chloe's happy eyes as she holds her baby in her arms, I feel the resilience and unconditional love of a woman I will always cherish. With the arrival of the child, the conflicts and contradictions that had been simmering between Chloe and me seemed to gradually disappear. The child we had longed for came to us, bringing with it a new wave of hope and happiness, which seemed to have been worn away over the years of hardship for Chloe. The child was a salvation, a consolation for the deep pain she had endured. She devoted all her love and time to the child, caring for each moment with sincere love. I saw her as a different person, a gentle, sacrificial, and loving mother. However, deep down, I could not help but have mixed feelings. The decision we had made to have this child was not an easy one, and sometimes I wondered if we had really made the right choice in taking that path. The child was my flesh and blood, but the way it came to us left me with so many worries, a burden of thought that will probably follow me for the rest of my life. As for the girl who gave birth to the child after fulfilling her duty, she gradually moved away from our lives. Chloe arranged everything for her, ensuring that she would have a stable future. The girl left quietly, leaving behind nothing but a healthy and happy child. Sometimes I think about her filled with gratitude for her sacrifice and courage, but also wondering if she felt any regret for leaving this child to us. Through all that I have been through, I have realized that love is sometimes not simple or easy. In the most difficult moments, we have had to face choices and trade-offs that no one could have imagined. Things did not go as expected. And to achieve happiness, sometimes one has to go through challenging paths. The child has brought joy and meaning to our lives. But the journey to get here is also a trade-off that we will remember forever. Most importantly, I understood that love is not just about sweet moments or promises. True love is the ability to stand by each other, endure and overcome the challenges life throws at us, even at the cost of some of our dignity and peace. I learned to understand Chloe better and accept that we are not always perfect, and not every decision is completely right. But the only thing I know for sure is that we always try our best for each other. Our life continues with the joy and laughter of our child. Our child, although the journey to have a child was not easy, although the burden of not having a child has been lifted, I know this experience will always be a mark in our lives. Will we be happy forever, or will we face another challenge? I am not sure, but what I do know is that we have come a long way, and now our family has a new beginning, with a new baby, a new hope in this home. This child will grow up without knowing the sacrifices and challenges we have gone through to have him, but perhaps just seeing his smile every day, our torment and pain will gradually be soothed. Despite everything, I promise myself to do everything so that this child can grow up happily, mature in love and peace, in marriage and family life. Things do not always go smoothly or as expected. The most important thing is understanding, listening, and accompanying, especially in difficult times when faced with challenges. It is easy to lose direction and get caught up in pressure, leading to decisions that may leave us regretful. My advice is to always stay calm and sober. Be open to sharing and seek support from loved ones or experts if needed. Do not make decisions when your emotions are not balanced, because that can lead to unwanted consequences. And above all, remember that true love is not only about sweet moments, but also requires patience, sacrifice, and tolerance to overcome all challenges together. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Don't forget to click the notification bell icon to stay notified.